Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into the sands of time to explore a fascinating aspect of ancient Egyptian life that you might not know much about: their incredible relationship with animals. We all know about the pyramids, the pharaohs, and the mummies, but what about the millions of animal mummies? Or the fact that killing a cat, even by accident, could get you a death sentence? Stick around, because the story of animals in ancient Egypt is wilder than you can imagine. So let's set the scene. Imagine walking through an ancient Egyptian town. You wouldn't just see people, you'd see animals everywhere. Not just as pets or farm animals, but as living, breathing symbols of the gods. The Egyptians' connection with the animal kingdom was profound. It was woven into their daily lives, their art, their religion, and even their plans for the afterlife. Let's start with the gods. Many of the most powerful Egyptian deities were depicted with animal heads. Think about it. Ra, the sun god, often had the head of a falcon. Anubis, the god of embalming and the dead, had the head of a jackal. Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, was represented with the head of an ibis. This wasn't just a quirky artistic choice. The Egyptians believed that these animals embodied the specific characteristics of the gods. The falcon soars high in the sky, just as the sun does. The jackal roams the edges of the desert, a place between the world of the living and the dead. The ibis dips its long beak into the muddy waters of the Nile to find food, much like a scribe searching for hidden knowledge. By associating gods with these animals, the Egyptians created a powerful, visual language to understand the divine forces that shaped their world. This reverence went beyond just pictures and statues. Certain animals were believed to be living incarnations of the gods on earth. The most famous of these was the Apis bull. In the city of Memphis, a special bull identified by specific sacred markings was worshipped as the living manifestation of the god Ptah. This bull lived a life of luxury. It had its own palace, was fed the finest foods, and was adored by priests and pilgrims. When the Apis bull died, the entire nation went into mourning. It was then mummified with all the care and expense of a pharaoh and buried in a massive underground tomb complex called the Serapeum of Saqqara. Finding the next Apis bull was a major event, a sign that the gods were still with them. But it wasn't just bulls. In different cities, or nomes as they were called, different animals were held sacred. In one town, it might be the crocodile, representing the fearsome god Sobek. In another, it might be the ram, a symbol of the creator god Khnum. This could sometimes lead to conflict. The historian Plutarch tells of a kind of holy war that broke out between two towns because one worshipped a fish that the other town liked to eat. It shows just how seriously they took these animal cults. Now let's talk about pets. The Egyptians loved their pets, and it wasn't just for companionship. The most popular pets were cats, dogs, and monkeys. Cats were especially cherished. They were seen as protectors of the home, hunting snakes, scorpions, and mice. But more than that, they were associated with the goddess Bastet, the fierce protector of the home, women, and children, who was often depicted as a woman with the head of a cat. Harming a cat was a huge taboo. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote that if a house caught fire, Egyptians were more concerned with saving the cats than putting out the fire. And as I mentioned earlier, killing a cat, even accidentally, was a crime punishable by death. When a family cat died, the owners would shave their eyebrows as a sign of mourning. Dogs were also beloved companions and useful helpers. They were used for hunting and as guard dogs. We can see them in countless tomb paintings, often shown sitting loyally beneath their owner's chair. Many dogs were given names like Brave One or Good Herdsman, and were buried with their masters to join them in the afterlife. One inscription from a dog's tomb reads, "The dog which was the guard of His Majesty." Abutiu was his name. This dog was given a royal burial by the pharaoh himself. This shows that the bond between humans and their pets is nothing new. It's an ancient connection. This brings us to the afterlife and the mind-boggling practice of animal mummification. The Egyptians believed that the afterlife was a continuation of life on Earth, and they wanted to bring their animal companions with them. So pets were often mummified and buried with their owners. But it goes way beyond that. Archaeologists have discovered massive catacombs filled not with one or two, but millions of mummified animals. We're talking cats, dogs, ibises, falcons, crocodiles, baboons, and even beetles. Why so many? Well, many of these weren't beloved pets. They were votive offerings. Imagine you're an ancient Egyptian, and you want to ask a favor from the god Thoth. You would go to a temple complex dedicated to him, and instead of lighting a candle, you would purchase a mummified ibis, Thoth's sacred animal, to leave as an offering. This created a massive industry. Priests ran huge breeding centers, or animal farms, specifically to raise millions of ibises and falcons for this purpose. They were raised, ritually killed, and then mummified by the thousands every year. CT scans of these animal mummies have revealed some fascinating and sometimes grim details. While many were carefully preserved, others were fake bundles of rags and reeds shaped like an animal, sold to unsuspecting pilgrims. Some even show that the animals, like young kittens, had their necks broken to meet the high demand. It was a complex system of faith, commerce, and sometimes deception. The animal world was also a source of symbolism in art and writing. Think of the hieroglyphs themselves. The script is full of animals. The owl for the letter M, the horned viper for ref, the chick for W. The behavior of animals inspired stories and fables, much like Aesop's fables in ancient Greece. Papyrus scrolls depict a satirical topsy-turvy world where cats serve mice and a hippopotamus and a crocodile play a board game. This shows they had a sense of humor and a deep understanding of the animal world, allowing them to use it to comment on their own society. From the mighty lion, a symbol of pharaonic power, to the humble scarab beetle, representing rebirth and the morning sun, every creature had its place in the Egyptian cosmos. They were neighbors, helpers, symbols, gods, and gateways to the afterlife. This unique and intense relationship reveals a worldview where the human, natural, and divine worlds were not separate, but deeply and beautifully intertwined. When you look at an image from ancient Egypt, don't just see the people. Look closer at the animals. Each one tells a story of a civilization that saw divinity in all forms of life. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this as fascinating as I do. What ancient Egyptian animal do you find most interesting? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey back in time, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you in the next one.